The main aim of this dairy farm, which Rebecca and I own, is to have a profitable, productive and attractive dairy farm where everyone enjoys working. Our farm is located about 15 minutes south of Featherston in the South Wairarapa. We're against the Ruamahanga River, so it's all flat alluvial soils. 155 hectares is what we farm now. The longest walking distance to a paddock is probably about 1.1 k's. I've owned the majority of this farm since 1984, but in 2004 we bought the neighbour's farm, and after 2 years of milking twice a day, the two farms together, and then through one shed, we opted for milking once a day 10 seasons ago. We had to have extra staff, and we were trying to juggle them to get the profitability and get the job done, and for them not to work too hard. Along with that, we were struggling to retain staff, and this was something that we were not used to and didn't like. And we also were starting to get troubles with having empty cows, so our herd wasn't sustaining that well. So the need for improved profitability, the cows to last, the staff to stay, and for me to enjoy farming coincided with a visit to Rakaia Island and seeing the Turner brothers milk their cows once a day. And from then on, we started to plan to move into once a day for the following season. We had to make sure we had enough cows because we knew they were going to produce less. We had to be able to winter them well to get to the condition score 5 at calving. The intention of carrying the extra cows was to produce the same as we did on twice a day. And we were determined to do that. And we worked quite hard to do that. We didn't achieve it, but I thought it was important to be determined to aim for that. What actually happened was about 8% of the herd was unsuitable for once a day and started to go fat and dry themselves off, and we sold them soon after Christmas. It wasn't hard to evaluate. You see what your farm currently produces, and instead of dividing that by 400 or 450 kilograms a cow, you divide it by 350 kilograms a cow, and that's where your stocking rate will sit, and you'll be able to feed them okay. Just before once a day we were just under 200,000 kilograms of milk solids, dropped down to about 170 for a couple of seasons, then up to 190, and now we sit around the 205,000, 206,000 kilograms of milk solids a year. I like to look at production in terms of total milk solids produced or production per hectare. If you're really a production per cow man or woman, then once a day might not be for you. Twice or 3 times might be more for you. But the unexpected bonus is probably low cell count. And we see that in our Lower North Island once a day discussion group, that generally 90% of them have a low cell count compared to twice a day. While we're on twice a day, our empty rate was in the low teens, and one year got up to 19% for both herds. Now, this was very unpalatable when you're trying to put 20 or 25% into the herd every year. Currently, on once a day, we've tended to float between 9%, and our 1 year we got as low as 3% empties. We do mate for 12 to 13 weeks though, so that's probably a bit lower than some people with a shorter mating would experience. Our 6-week and calf rate for the last 2 or 3 years has sat between 78 and 82%. So hence the fast calving, hence the lots of AI calves to rear, lots of young animals to choose from to go into our herd. Yeah, mating performance is generally quite good. We've moved our calving date later. This is because our mean calving date was getting earlier and earlier, and we still had to make sure that we could feed the cows after calving. The main thing that we didn't expect that we have to do now is cull heavier on udders. The cows carry almost twice as much milk in their udder for a period of time, and so we cull heavier on udders, but our empty rate sits around the 3 to 9%, averaging around 6 or 7%. So the beauty of that is udders are highly heritable and fertility is not. And the other changes have been to our breed. You know, we started off with a Friesian herd and a Jersey herd. and now we've got that crossbred herd. The latest change that I've made is that we've selected semen to put over our cows. I just picked from the premier size those bulls which had the lower milk volume and really good udders. Anything that was weak in udders we didn't really want, because we've been culling on that for a number of years now, and we want the bulls that we select to be on the same page as our culling criteria. I feel it's really important to have quality feed going into the cows, and then you'll get good production coming out, which is the same as twice a day. I don't think it's a lot different. We try to hit the right residuals and have the right rotation length, and 24-hour grazing. There's no need to do it any more frequently than that, and that lessens the amount of walking that cows have to do anyway. Mornings can be reasonably busy because we're milking two herds one after the other, but the afternoon is fairly relaxed. It's quite noticeable how it's just all quiet. There's no deadline to meet. There's no we've got to bring the cows in again at 2:30 to start milking again, and everyone gets finished work at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and the weekends as soon as all the essential work is done. The cows are a bit the same. They come in for milking, go back to the paddock, and that's the last time we have to deal with them. Profitability of the farm was quite important to us, and for that reason, for the last 9 or 10 years we've been on dairy base, and we've tried to compare how we perform. For the last 2 seasons, which I've got detailed figures on, we're in the top 20% for owner-operator farms and for owner-operator farms with contract milkers. The two main changes which affect your bottom line are, one, we employ less staff, and the other one was, because the cows get in calf so well, instead of having to buy cows to fill up your herd every year, we were selling surplus animals. I don't consider myself a once-a-day farmer. I consider myself a dairy farmer, and it's profitability and production per hectare and total production that I measure myself against. And that doesn't disadvantage me at all. I don't feel disadvantaged in being a once-a-day farmer. I don't feel like the value of my farm has gone down or the production of my farm has gone down. I consider our dairy farm more sustainable because we have low cow wastage, we have good staff retention, and we're profitable year on year, even through the low payout years. And I enjoy the job more, so I'm more sustainable. And sustainable is a word linked closely to resilience that enables us to handle times that are not so pleasant. And resilience is closely tied to being able to explore new opportunities. If you're more comfortable in your situation, you're able to look at the next challenge. I think once a day is something that everyone should consider, just like all the other options that they could consider. And that's part of seeing the potential of what how your business could run, or looking far enough ahead as to how you'd like to shape your business in the future. And once a day is an option that can work on most farms, as far as I can tell. You're still converting your feed efficiently into milk. I would really recommend that any farmer considering going on once a day, go and see a dairy farm that's operating once a day. In my own case, I completely disregarded the thought of going to once a day because of what magazine articles said were the downsides. But once I visited the Turner brothers, I could see what was possible. I was able to get a picture in my head as to how that would translate to our farm, and I think that's quite important.